In cities across the nation, we've also seen police officers assaulted with bricks, rocks, bats, Molotov cocktails, frozen bottles of water. Somebody said last night, one of these protesters, I saw him, he said, "It's only water. How can water hurt you?" Yeah, they don't say it's frozen in a bottle the size of a football, and they throw it at the police. It's unbelievable. It's water. And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, "No, this is soup for my family." They're so innocent. And then when they get caught, they say, "No, this is soup for my family. For my family." They say, "No, this is soup for my family. No, this is soup for my family. Soup for my family. Soup for my family." Really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, "No, this is soup for my family." They're so innocent. "This is soup for my family." It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, "No, this is just soup for my family." And then the media says, "This is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people." Media says, "This is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people." And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick. It's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, "No, this is soup for my family." They're so innocent. "This is soup for my family." It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. Last night, one of these protesters, I saw him, he said, "It's only water. How can water hurt you?" Yeah, they don't say it's frozen in a bottle the size of a football, and they throw it at the police. It's unbelievable. It's water. And then they have cans of soup. Unbelievable. It's water. It's 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 unbelievable. It's water. And then they have cans of soup. Soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick. It's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? Force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, "No, this is just soup for my family. This is just soup for my family. This is just soup for my family." It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, when they get caught, they say, "No, this is just soup for my family." And then the media says, "This is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people."
Welcome to another episodic installation of the Above It All live broadcast programmatic experiential experimental experience live on youtube.org. How do I do this? I gotta click that one. Okay, and then alright, I gotta do this. Alright, okay, and then alright, the Above It All program, is this on? Hello, everybody. I'm doing a live show today. I'm a little nervous getting nervous, man. Getting nervous for today's program. But welcome to the show. Today, I'll be doing a show today. Actually, I was planning on doing it yesterday, but yesterday I got drunk instead, and I figured, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just do it today, while also continuing the trend. So, you know, a lot of YouTubers out there in YouTube land, on youtube.net, you know, they love to rush out there. Trump assassination attempt. Me, I let it simmer. Was this a real assassination attempt? It might have been. We don't really know. But what we do know is that Trump is alive. And so, as a result, can you really say it's an assassination attempt? I mean, the guy shot like what, 7 or 8 bullets? Didn't get him? I think it could possibly be a false flag. Okay, that's what I'm just saying it's possible. Am I saying that's what it is? No. Am I saying definitively? Do I have any proof whatsoever? None at all. I am fucking batshit insane. In fact, where's my goddamn tinfoil? Here it is. I gotta get my fucking... Look at this. I am insane, okay? But it could have been a false flag. It's possible. Right? Like, has anyone really even sat back... Okay, imagine this. Key piece of evidence here. Motherfucker was on the roof before Trump even showed up. Before Trump even showed up onto the stage. That motherfucker already had his gun out. Now, a lot of people are saying it couldn't possibly be a false flag. But have you seen the video of Trump going like, ugh? Have you seen that? I haven't. Because I refuse to look at that stuff. But if I did see it, I would come to the conclusion that it's a false flag. However, again, I have no evidence of this. I'm just saying some garbage. I'm saying what we're all thinking here, okay? So that's my comments on Trump's assassination attempt. We got Coach Kush. We got Lindsay's green canvas. We got The Letter Hack. We got Soul Ife. We got Brian Grigsby. And more joining us today in the live show experiential program for today. We're doing a live show. I haven't done one of these in a while. I did do a debate show live, but still, this is different. You know, that's kind of easy. I just sit here and go like, right? Like this is, you know, I actually have to do something here, so. But, yep, we're going to be talking about Joe Biden today. Joe Biden is going to be an aspect of today's programmatic lineup. Going to be talking about AOC. I saw this morning AOC is trending. She's getting attacked by the super duper ultra left. And we're going to be commenting on that. Apparently there's like this big bullshit. There's some big ass bullshit going on. Check this out. This is what I saw on twitter.com. So shout outs to the cyber attackers. And by that, I mean, you know, whatever story that they're coming up with for why this shit is happening. But shout outs to the cyber attackers. You know, a lot of people say, why do climate groups throw tomatoes on the Mona Lisa? Does that really do anything? No, it doesn't. Let's be honest here. But, hey. Huh? Right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, right? Come on. Come on. But shout outs to the cyber attackers. They're doing the Lord's work out there. But yep, that's 2 down. That's 2 topics down. That's right. That's the shortest Trump assassination segment you'll ever see. Everyone else, the moment it happened, they upload their 9,000 YouTube videos. Every detail that comes out, they're raking in the cash money. Me, I don't really care. But anyway, I care more about the cyber attack that's going on. But, what are you going to do? While we're starting off today's show, I wake up. Every now and then, I decide to get out of my bed. And, when I was scrolling, I scroll. Do you scroll? Anyone out there scroll? Huh? Well, I was scrolling, right? And I came across this, I don't know what it is. Now, again, this is my first live show here in a while. Aside from that debate stream, but you may have noticed I've been doing this other show live. That's kind of why I've been balancing this out. I usually do this pre-recorded so that when I do this pre-recorded, I get to say whatever I want, and then if I feel like I said too much, I get to edit it out, which is like, that's something that I appreciate doing. But I also do a live show. It's called Left Past 10, featuring there's 3 other people that are featured. You got Sandy, Jake, and Matt on there, so definitely check that out. But one of the things that you may have been seeing on the Left Past 10 show is there's this this broiling going on, a simmer, if you will. I would go as far as to say melodrama happening with the Left Past 10 show. And so, just to be clear, I am not doing the Left Past 10 show right now. This is the Above It All show. So I'm going to say what the hell I mean on this show. On the Left Past 10 show, I don't want to get everyone else in trouble. I don't want to say something out of line and then fucking Sandy's going to have to get a phone call from her mom and say, "Hey, were you really on?" I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want to put anyone else in there. But this is the Above It All show. Today we're going to be giving it straight out there. So I logged into twitter.org and I saw a message from the Letterhack, a message posted publicly. Letterhack did not send this to me. And Letterhack was posting, apparently Emma Vigeland on the Majority Report is a large contributor to this online hate campaign against the Left Past 10 show. And for those of you that don't have the context, I'm not going to give you the context. You should have been watching Left Past 10. You should have been seeing this develop over the last month and a half or so. So if you don't know what the hell's going on, that's on you. That's on you. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and do a fucking 68-minute recap for you. So again, just to recap a little bit though, Matt Folder, who is a co-host on the Majority Report, Matt Folder came on the show, Left Past 10 show. And now again, Matt Folder is only on Majority Report once a week or so, something like that. So he's not, I don't think, aware of the full extent of this online harassment campaign that the Majority Report, by the way, a channel with over 1 million subscribers. Over 1 million subscribers. Again, large contributors, I would even say the front lines of this online harassment campaign against the Letterhack specifically, and then also the Left Past 10 show. So Matthew Folder went on the Majority Report, and Emma was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And this is a little bit of a strange, it's just look at this. There's something strange here. It seems coordinated, you could say, but let's watch.
To you, what's happening on your many shows?
Last night, I went on the Letterhacks, the show that he's one of many.
By the way, just to be clear, I am the main host of Left Past 10. Let's just be honest here. I'm the primary host. Let's just come on. Letterhack, he does the production, This is not the Letter Hack show. This is my show. Left Past 10 is mine. All right. But anyway, let's keep going.
Many panel hosts of Left Past 10.
That sounds like a great time. But you're just insisting on insulting me over and over. It's been tough. Yeah.
So this is an example of something I would like to call Darvo. Right? Emma Vigeland, again, has been at the forefront of this online harassment campaign. Again, you can go back and watch all the previous Left Past 10 shows. We've been discussing it on there. You know, I figured if I'm doing this live, right, why wait until next week to talk about this when I can get my thoughts out there now? And this is an example of someone who is doing something horrible, evil, I would even go as far as to say, trying to destroy our reputation here at Left Past 10 Industries. And by proxy, my show, above it all, industry program. And then she's claiming that actually she's the one getting harassed. Is that so? Let's keep going.
Not in the club
Hello?
anymore.
All right. What a hard way to tell me live on air. You have me come on the show just to kick me
Humiliate you. Yes. All right. Well,
So it appears like, and now, just to be clear, since this started going down, I have unsubscribed from the Majority Report. I will not tolerate this kind of behavior. So I did not see the full show here. But from context clues, it seems like Emma is threatening, whether jokingly or not, and you can see in the body language that she is furious. She's full of rage, to kick someone off the show just for associating with the Letter Hack. Now, I think that personally is reprehensible behavior. And again, over 1 million YouTube subscribers, they're controlling the narrative. I've only got 11,000 YouTube subscribers, and most of them are people that like died in like 2015, because I've been on this website for like fucking 15 years, right? So like most of my YouTube subscribers are dead people, right? But at the same time, you know, the idea that like, how many subscribers does Letter Hack have? Like 5,000, 3,000, I don't know. How many does Jake have? Somewhere in that region. Sandy's got, right? We are small time here in this circle. And so again, let's play the last 10 seconds here. Let's see how this ends. But this is like, I don't know, man. This is weird. I find it weird that a show with over 1 million subscribers is spending so much time and energy directing this hate campaign.
interesting. We will be just discussing this, obviously, in the fun half.
See you folks in the fun end.
What the-
Anyway.
So
I go out of my.
So I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know if there was any future discussion. I saw this on the Letterhack's Twitter account. Again, I'm not going to give the Majority Report views. I refuse to do so. So I would love to go check out their show and see whether or not the claims made in this Twitter clip here are accurate, but I'm not going to, because I'm not going to give them views. So just so everyone knows where I stand on the Majority Report flame war that's been happening against a show that I happen to be a part of, and that I have a 26% stake in. I have a 26% stake in Left Past 10. You may wonder how that is divisible by 4 people. It's because it's my show. I have 26%. I got a majority. Everyone else, they got 24% or something, 24 point something. I don't really know. But everyone out there, go check out the Letterhacks channel. Again, small time people out there. We need to stick together. While these big media giants, put their foot down on us. And I got bad news, folks. They're wearing cleats, and it's going to hurt. So, throwing that out there. Be careful. Speaking of being careful, check this out. This is interesting. 6 Colorado workers contracted bird flu, the most human cases in a state. Now, the WHO has come out and said that bird flu is, at this moment, a proto-pandemic, meaning that it has a high likelihood of becoming a full-blown pandemic, and that the governments, especially the U.S. government, are doing really nothing to prevent it from from happening. So, let's check this one out here. I want to see if I need to. Okay, the paywall has been neutralized. Excellent. Wonderful news. All right. Bird flu has infected 6 farm workers in Colorado this month, the most in any state, as health officials stressed the importance of preparedness to contain the H5N1 virus spreading in dairy herds and poultry flocks across the country. 5 of the workers were culling poultry at the same commercial egg-laying farm, experiencing an outbreak affecting nearly 2 million chickens. So, what's happening here? Bird flu is basically infecting these chickens. And what we're doing is a complete genocide of chickens on many farms across the United States. Instead of preventing the chickens from being infected, they are letting the chickens get infected and then murdering them en masse. 2 million chickens here. 5 million chickens here. There's been over 100 million chickens that have been destroyed, murdered by these farms that are refusing to protect, let's just be capitalistic here, their product. They're refusing to even protect their own product. Imagine if you had an antique store and you went into the antique store and every day you got like a spiked baseball bat and you just swung it across a shelf, destroying like several 100-year-old antiques. That's going to hurt your business. And that's essentially what farms are doing all across the country. They're just letting it happen and then dealing with it later. Oh, we don't need to worry about this. Oh, we don't need to worry about this. Oh, we don't need to worry about this. Next thing you know, millions of chickens are having to be killed. And that is what is being a driver of rising egg prices across the United States. During a news briefing on Tuesday, federal officials said temperatures soaring above 104 degrees made it difficult for workers to wear workers, by the way. Now, there's a large contingent of people that like to claim that they have left-wing politics, but don't believe in the germ theory of disease. COVID, not real. The flu, not real. Cancer, not real. Well, cancer has nothing to do with germs for the most part. But hey, whatever. Most leftists, they stopped, 10 years ago, Medicare for all, people they deserve to be healthy. 10 years later, if you are afraid of getting permanently disabled, you're a pussy. Why aren't you going to restaurants? You're a pussy. You're living in fear. That's the average mainstream leftist out there. They don't believe in germs anymore. But a lot of left-wingers love to claim, oh, we care about workers. Workers. Do you care about the workers that were forced to work in 104 degrees Fahrenheit? To be clear, it's not centigrade, the real temperature scale. It's Fahrenheit. And check this out. Because it was 104 degrees Fahrenheit, it made it difficult for workers to wear the fully required full body suits, goggles, and N95 masks to protect them from the virus. So once again, they could have protected the birds, the chickens, from this virus. They chose not to. Then they let it get really bad while it's summer during a climate change fueled heat wave. And then the workers were essentially forced to either quit their job because the conditions are so horrible here, or risk their lives getting bird flu and not wearing the protective equipment. Right? So again, has anyone here, has anyone seen anything about bird flu on left-wing shows? I don't know. I feel like I'm one of the only people talking about it. But again, as a leftist, I care about people that are workers, people that need to have a job that is often substandard, a job they don't really like that much, just to put food on the table and feed themselves and their families. And they do not deserve to get infected with diseases that the government has decided will be the new normal. Quote, the barns in which the culling operations occur were no doubt even hotter, said Nirav Shah, principal deputy director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, to be clear, I fucking hate the CDC. I'm a CDC hater. The CDC is controlled opposition. What does that mean? That means the CDC out there wants to claim that they represent your best interest when it comes to health and safety, but in reality, they are victims of corporate capture by right-wing billionaire-funded interests. My main point of evidence for this is that in the year 2021, during the quote-unquote COVID pandemic that people pretend is over. You see a lot of people pretending that COVID is over. Biden just got COVID, but I thought the pandemic's over. You know, Barbara Lee just got COVID, but I thought the pandemic's over, right? But a lot of people didn't see this in 2021 when Delta Airline CEO had a private backdoor meeting with members of the CDC. And in that meeting, a leak came out that basically said they were demanding shortening quarantine periods. And that resulted in the next few days, the CDC said, oh, 10-day quarantine? How about 5-day quarantine? As a direct result of a CEO basically saying, we want to get our pilots sick just so that they can fly the planes. We don't give a fuck if they get sick. We don't give a fuck if they get permanently disabled from long COVID. We don't give a fuck if they get too sick to even fly the plane and then the plane crashes. We don't give a shit. All we need to do is put bodies in the pilot seat. So Delta CEO basically manipulated the entire Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's public health policy. As a result, you cannot trust what the CDC has to say. They are controlled opposition. Now, does that mean everything they say is wrong? No. It just means you have to take a grain of salt to the approach of reading these kinds of statements here. Large-scale industrial fans were used to help cool the barns, but they also spread feathers around, which are known to carry virus. Were there HVAC or HEPA-based filtration systems in these barns? Probably not. Were there windows that were frequently opened and allowed for, you know, quick cycloning of air and feathers outside of the barns of some kind so that, you know, the virus would be pushed away from the workers? Probably not. The culling method involved extensive interaction with infected birds, requiring workers to put chickens in carts and kill them with carbon dioxide gas. Now, let's be honest here. Let's be real. Why not just set the barn on fire? Why not just get a machine gun and shoot up all the chickens? Why do they do this complicated bullshit process of culling the chickens? Let's be honest here. Most people don't give a fuck about the lives of animals, including chickens. Now, personally, I like to think that I care a little bit more than most people about chickens. But the reason why they don't just burn the farm down, they don't just burn, you know, all the chickens, they don't just put them in a fucking gas chamber, you know, and just like press the button, is because of humane standards. Now, I say that with a little bit of sarcasm because at the end of the day, we are factory farming chickens and basically breeding them for slaughter and giving them a torturous life experience. But a lot of people, they draw the line at killing them in an unfortunate way. Them being raised in a cage where they can't even move, that's fine. Torture, that's fine. Feeding them a diet that has malnutrition all over it so that they just slowly get sick and sick and sick and wither away, that's fine. Cutting their head off in one fell swoop, can't do it. It's inhumane! Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. The workers were finding it hard to maintain a good seal or good fit, either between the mask or with eye protection, Shah said. This confluence of factors may play a role in explaining why this outbreak occurred, where it did, and when it did. So basically, if you want to just quit here on this, essentially, the heat wave is making wearing protective equipment for farm workers more difficult. And last year, H5N1 really was simmering in the background. But this year, it's in the foreground. Over half of states in the United States have had traces of H5N1 in farms. There have been 3 or 4 different states in the United States where they have bird to human transmission. There was a case in Mexico City of someone dying from bird flu, and they don't even know where he got it from. He had no contact with chickens whatsoever, and that could imply a human-to-human based strain. We don't really fucking know what's happening. But what I can tell you is it's not good! And people like me, and ideally people like you, that over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic that is still ongoing, we have adapted to this new world. There are a lot of people that said, oh, wearing a mask, oh, it's uncomfortable, ah, I'm gonna die if I put a mask on for 28 minutes in the grocery store. I can't breathe. That's the average left-winger, even. They are all, again, eugenicists. Now, this is a, controversial claim. But if you go out and about without wearing a mask, actions express priority. I don't give a fuck what you say on your fucking podcast. I don't give a fuck what you say on your fucking Twitter account. I don't give a fuck what words you're typing online. Actions express priorities. You are prioritizing your own selfish narcissism, your own fucked up ego, over other people that choose or what at least desire to participate in society. If you are immunocompromised, if you are undergoing chemotherapy, you are at high risk for dying if you contract something like H5N1 or COVID-19. And again, if you are going out there when you could wear a mask and you're not doing so, you are de facto a eugenicist. Now, if this upsets you, if this triggers you, if your fifis are in the gutter, I have an idea. Put a fucking respirator on. Let's be honest. It's not that hard. Right? And again, if you, in year 5 of the COVID-19 pandemic, have not adapted to this new world, I got a book recommendation. It's called On the Origin of Species. Check it out. So, there you go, folks. Bird flu? Check this out. We're talking about COVID. Summer COVID levels are on the rise. This website is fucked. Track the spread by region. The heat is not the only thing rising this summer. COVID-19 is on an upswing as well. Now, just reminder, Joe Biden, as recently as 2 fucking weeks ago, was bragging, I solved the pandemic. I fixed the pandemic. What he really did is did Trump's policy, but liberals listened to him because his name was Joe Biden and he had a D next to his name. Same policies that Donald Trump did. I would even go as far as to say worse policies than what Donald Trump did. But he had a D next to his name. So Democrats and even communists, self-described Joe Biden super haters, even believed Joe Biden when it comes to health and safety. Now imagine how fucking dumb. You gotta be dumb as shit. You have to be to simultaneously hold the belief that Joe Biden is a genocider and liar when it comes to the Israeli onslaught and genocide of Gazans that has been estimated to kill close to 200,000 people. Right? But you can't see that Joe Biden is lying about the genocide of the elderly, the sick, the disabled, right? The people that, are most frequently to, in terms of Republican language, be on the welfare state, right? The genocide of the disabled people, that's all well and good. I want to go see Taylor Swift. I want to go to Applebee's. I'm a super communist. I want to go to bars. I want to go to concerts without a mask on and spread disease to everyone. I want to go do protests without a mask on and spread disease to people that are protesting so that they can't protest any further. I call that cop behavior. If you are going to left-wing organizational events without wearing a respirator at all times, you are a cop. You are a Nazi, you are a eugenicist, you're a Fed, and you need to get the fuck out of here. And if you don't think you're any one of those things, then guess what? You should ask for a paycheck. Let's be honest here. Okay, let's keep going. More than 70% of the illnesses stem from the highly contagious JN.1 strain, which grew more prevalent over the winter. These COVID-19 variants are known as the Flirt variants. Wastewater testing acts as an early warning system for public health professionals and can help in slowing or preventing outbreaks. Now, none of this is true, except for this. Okay, this is true. But the idea that public health officials are going to act on wastewater levels, that's not happening. Let's be honest. That's none of that. Does the CDC issued a mask mandate? Has any local government issued a mask mandate because of this? No. Local governments like LA and New York City are trying to ban wearing a respirator. They want to ban you from protecting yourself against an airborne virus during year 5 of a pandemic. We are on year 5, the 5th fucking year of a pandemic. And governments are trying to ban you from wearing a respirator. Insane. Even in communities where residents are not showing symptoms, again, 60% of COVID transmission is asymptomatic. You can have lung cancer and not know you have lung cancer until you start coughing up blood and pass out at aisle 7 when you're trying to get some cookies and Krispies, okay? That's what happens. You wake up in the hospital, hey, buddy, you got stage 3 lung cancer. What? I had no idea. So again, a lot of COVID transmission is asymptomatic because it evades the immune system. Most of the time, symptoms are as a result of the immune system responding to an infection. If it can evade, not invade. If it can evade the immune system, then the immune system will not produce symptoms like a fever or a runny nose as often. All right, so factor that in. In turn, the CDC can determine the levels of illness in your region. According to the CDC, the wastewater viral activity level for COVID-19 is high and very high in 26 states. Now, again, what's interesting about this makeup here? You see a lot of red in states where it's hot. Now, you might look at the bottom right of that chart and say, oh, you know, it's Republican states. But it's not Republican states. It's both Republican and Democrat states. It's basically depending on the heat. The heat produces a higher amount of spread. The heat and the population density. That's why you see a lot of these Republican so-called flyover states where -7 people live in the whole state. The population density is so low, the transmission is just way less likely. Versus a state like California, where the population density is extremely high, and guess what? It's run by Democrats who no longer believe in the germ theory of disease. So check that out. That's interesting. And President Biden, if you can even call him President Biden, you know, by the time you're watching this video in a day or two, he may no longer be President Biden. But at this moment in time, President Biden also got COVID-19. Again, 2 weeks ago, he said, I fixed the pandemic, even though he just instituted Trump's policies even better than Trump did. And now he's got COVID-19. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange? I have this video here of some CNN, I think, or no, this is MSNBC. MSNBC covering, showing Biden right after announcing he got COVID, and they're kind of talking about his behavior. Let's check this on.
We're looking at live pictures here.
Now, note, he tested positive on a rapid antigen test, which are notoriously very likely to produce false negatives. Meaning you can have COVID in your body, you can be infected, but the amount of virus that you're spewing out in your phlegm or whatever is, not enough to show up on a rapid test, right? So if he tests positive on a rapid test, that means he's been infected for at least a week. At least a week. But then there were also reports that Joe Biden had a cold during the presidential debate with Donald One-Ear Trump. Well, I guess he had 2 ears at the time, right? There were reports that that was the excuse why Joe Biden could not speak. That was the excuse. Joe Biden could not formulate a sentence. He had a cold. Is it possible that he's had COVID-19 for 3 weeks? Think about it. Think about it. But also, again, after announcing he has COVID, notice he's in his car, no mask on. His Secret Service agents, his drivers, no mask on. If you are coming in contact with Joe Biden, he's going to casually and willy-nilly just infect you with a virus that can permanently disable you for the rest of your life. All while Donald Trump and his sycophantic supporters somehow believe that Democrats and Joe Biden are the party of mask mandates, when most mask mandates were under Donald Trump and Joe Biden lifted all the mask mandates. That's the thing. Joe Biden, when he entered office, lifted all the mask mandates and said COVID is over. That's literally more right-wing than Donald Trump. Donald Trump's handling of COVID-19 was a lefter to the left of Joe Biden. Now, you might be thinking, what? Donald Trump handled the pandemic at the start really poorly. I know. I was there. But apparently, a lot of people aren't here right now in reality, where we are in year 5 of a fucking pandemic. Most people don't even believe in germs anymore. And the guy who's so, like, the Republicans love to claim is pro-COVID lockdowns, even though there were no lockdowns that ever happened. They were called quarantines, and they happened under Trump. And now this guy is just running around without a mask on. But let's see what MSNBC has to say here.
Of President Biden at the Las Vegas airport. He is, of course, still surrounded by his security detail, but he is en route to self-isolate, according to a new statement from the president's doctor and White House press secretary.
So notice somebody said, why is he not wearing a mask? Now, they could be facetious. Let's be honest here. Most people at this point in time, I would argue, 90% of people on this planet do not believe in the germ theory of disease. Why do I say this? Let me give it to you straight, Jack. If you are driving a car and you are heading at rapid pace, let's say 114 miles per hour, and you are heading through off the cliffside of the Grand Canyon, if you firmly believe that driving off the cliff will kill you, and you do not want to die, you will hit the brakes or turn around. You will stop the fucking car. If you firmly believe that driving off the edge of the cliff is going to kill you, and let's say you're suicidal, then hey, drive off the edge of the cliff. And that applies to the germ theory of disease. If people truly, actually, legitimately believed in the germ theory of disease, they would not be removing their respirators and, going to, hospitals without a mask on, going to schools without a mask on. They would not be going to grocery stores without a mask on. They would not be going to pharmacies without a mask on. If they truly, legitimately, and genuinely believed that germs are capable of causing disease that can cause death, they would not do these things. So that leads me to believe either the majority, supermajority, 90% of the population is either suicidal, as in they don't give a fuck if they live or die. In fact, they prefer to die, which is very likely, or they do not believe in the germ theory of disease. I'll let you decide which one you think is more likely. But again, someone in the background here is asking, why isn't he wearing a mask? Let's keep
doctor and White House press secretary Jean-Pierre. Go ahead. I couldn't hear that. Is that the doctor? No. So we're watching.
So someone just jumped on a mic to say that. The obvious point, what the fuck's going on here? Why is he not wearing a mask, right? And then, they weren't allowed to speak any further.
President Biden, go up the steps here. He has just tested positive for COVID. He has canceled the event he was going to do. You can see, of course, him boarding Air Force One.
Yep.
Doctor, the information from the president.
Anyway, there he goes. He's just infecting everyone around him, and it's kind of gross to watch, to be honest with you. It's kind of disgusting. But again, if you're a leftist and you're talking about Joe Biden having COVID and you took your respirator off, you're fucking dumber than dog shit, dude. Let's be honest. You're dumb. You're a dummy. You're a fucking idiot. Now, I was talking about COVID on Left Past 10 the other day, and I mentioned the statistic that I got hair in my mouth. I mentioned the statistic that about 6 million American children have a form of long COVID. And a lot of people, I had a couple people, by that I mean literally 2 people, reach out to me and say, that's not true. Where's your source? So figured while we're talking about it, I'm going to give you my source here. This is from March. Up to 5.8 million kids have long COVID, study says. One mother discusses the heartbreaking search for answers. I have covered a multitude of these types of articles over the last months or years that most mainstream popular left-wing podcasts and programs and Twitter communists and super organizers, just ignore. Kids are being thrown into the gutter. They're being thrown into the garbage by their parents, by their teachers, by their, any authority figures, the government. They're being thrown into the fucking garbage. But let's read this. Let's just read another account of a child who got COVID several times and their life has been destroyed. Children's lives are being destroyed because you, the adults, the parents, the teachers, the losers, the suckers, are too selfish and stupid and ultimately afraid of your fellow person so much that you get peer pressured into putting kids at risk. Your own kids, your pupils, those around you. You are so afraid of what others think of you that you get peer pressured to take your mask off during year 5 of a pandemic, even though, if you're watching this right now, you know it's affecting kids disproportionately now. Up to 5.8 million young people have long COVID, according to a recent study, and parents like Amanda Goodhart are looking for answers. She says her 6-year-old son, Logan, 6 years motherfucking old, caught COVID multiple times. Now, just so that I can piss people off even more with my war on parents, let's bring it out, war on parents. If you are allowing your toddler to get COVID multiple times, you're a shitty parent. Let's be honest here. You're a shitty fucking parent. You're garbage. You're shit. You shouldn't have had the kid in the fucking first place. Let's be real here. I'm being honest. I'm being honest. Like, I know, 6 years old, you didn't know COVID was a thing 6 years ago. I get it. That was before the pandemic started. I understand. Who could have predicted this? But again, the idea that parents should always be the victims when they have children before they're capable of raising children. Oh, we're the victims. We're bringing new people into this world and putting them through torture. I'm a victim. The government made me do it. The government made me have a kid and send them to schools and daycares and give them COVID over and over. The government made me do it. It's not my fault. That's what a lot of parents love to say. Because the cognitive dissonance hurts. They don't want to acknowledge the reality that they failed their kids. They don't want to acknowledge the reality that they're shitty parents. So they blame the government and absolve themselves of any fucking wrongdoing. Quote, to see him struggle to stay awake or crying and saying he doesn't feel good, it's heartbreaking. It's demoralizing because there's not a lot of treatment options. And this is why I, for the last couple of years on my program, have been telling you motherfuckers to take this fucking shit seriously. There is no cure. HIV has a cure, or at least, you know, something that prevents it from killing you. It's not necessarily a cure, but again, in the 1970s, go look, HIV, mild flu. Look it up. Look that keyword, HIV, mild flu, 1970s. For 10 years, HIV was considered a mild flu. Then they found out it predominantly affected gay people. They being the United States government. And then they accelerated the spread of HIV. And they censored newspapers. They censored government reports that actually HIV can affect non-gay people too. They were the Reagan administration, when he took over, was so down on board for the genocide of gay people that it didn't matter if straight people were catching strays, as the Zoomers would say. It's irrelevant. And that is what's happening here. The government wants to cull the population of sick, elderly, and anyone that they deem to be useless. We know, as a matter of fact, that minority populations, black people, immigrants, are more likely than not to get COVID, more likely than white people. Isn't that interesting? Oftentimes you find, you know, minorities of any stripe take this stuff a lot more seriously than the average white people. Let's be honest here. If you're a white person and you're not wearing a mask, maybe there's a little bit of white supremacy still left inside of your neural networks. Let's keep going. Study author Dr. Rachel Gross of NYU's Grossman School. Now, this is an article from March, just to remind you all. Says one major challenge in tracking the illness is that symptoms can vary. Quote, long COVID can look different in different children, that not everybody has the same symptoms, and that it can look different depending on when the symptoms start. Some common long COVID symptoms in kids include headache, loss of taste and smell, brain fog, pain. Now, just to be clear, brain fog stands for cognitive damage. What COVID does to the brain, that I've mentioned on my show many times, is it fuses neurons together, which deactivates them and creates holes in your fucking brain. Now, imagine you're 39, you're 56, you're 29, you're 26, you know, age where people claim the brain has stopped developing, and you start getting holes in your brain, that's going to fuck your shit up. Look at Joe Biden. Imagine you're 81. That's going to fuck your shit up if you get holes in your brain. Now imagine you're 6. Your brain is still growing, and you got holes in your brain. You got like lumps in your brain from fused neurons that are deactivated. And then your brain's going to continue to grow. And it's going to continue to grow with this damage setting in from a young age. Am I an alarmist? Or do I just understand cause and effect? Am I a fearmonger? Or do I just understand logic? Logan has also been dealing with circulatory and gastrointestinal problems. The most recent variants of COVID have been known and tracked to attack the gut more often than not. I've said on my show many times that 93% of Americans have a form of metabolic syndrome, metabolic dysfunction, which one of the primary culprits behind metabolic dysfunction is a very dysregulated gut microbiome, which means you have a lot of unhelpful bacteria that are attacking your body, inflaming your body, and 93% of Americans are in that position. 93% of Americans are in a position where their guts, their intestinal tract essentially, is weak, ineffective at putting off viruses, and COVID knows this. COVID is mutating to hang out in the best places in the body that have the least amounts of immune protection. So COVID is hanging out in the intestinal tract. And there's no bacteria that would even possibly stand up to them because 93% of Americans have destroyed. They've destroyed their microbiome with sugar, with alcohol, with pizza, with cheeseburgers, with greasy ass garbage. And Americans, you know, that's the thing, is you can have greasy ass garbage. You can have sugar, you can have alcohol. But if you are not eating healthy foods in addition to that, then what you're doing is you're slowly killing yourself over time. If you're having shitty foods and then you're like, oh shit, maybe I went on like a 3 or 4 day bender. You know, let me take it easy. What you want to do is you want to acknowledge the fact that that did damage to your body. And you want to accelerate recovery. What does that look like? Eating healthy ass food. Eating prebiotic foods. And then, once you've eaten prebiotic foods, eat probiotic foods. One thing I like to do if I've had an extended amount of time eating garbage is I like to have a salad one day, and the next day, a nice big ass bowl of miso soup. That's my recommendation out there. Health tip for you. Doctors say real quick, before I get back into this, back to the war on parents. Most parents feed their kids literal poison. Most parents don't cook their kids actual meals. They feed them frozen food, shit like Hot Pockets, frozen pizzas, chicken nuggies. They take them to McDonald's, to Burger King. Not all parents. Hashtag, I gotta say it. Hashtag not all parents. But the average American parent feeds their children poison. You might as well be feeding them Windex at this point. Let's be honest here. And I know some parents do that too, those fuckers. Doctors say most children with long COVID recover over several months, but about a third experience symptoms even 1 year later. Now, recover implies you don't get reinfected again. If you recover from long COVID, and then you go back to school, and you get infected again, and then your long COVID flares back up because you didn't fucking recover, that's not helping anybody. And this is why, this is a big example of public schools versus private schools. Public schools are underfunded. Public schools do not have well-crafted air ventilation schemes. A lot of public schools haven't had HVAC system reinstallations in the entirety of the 21st century. Private schools do. The schools that the rich people are sending their kids to, they have mask mandates. They have HEPA filtration. They have air ventilation. Public schools do not. So the kids of the rich are going to be at a supreme advantage, not just because of their wealth, but because of the ability to actually think. The ability to have a brain that functions is a gigantic advantage over the kids of the poor who are in these situations. Now, again, of course, it's not just the parents' fault. It's the government's fault. It's all the non-parents out there that are still refusing to wear a respirator in the 5th year of a pandemic. It's every single person's fault who has enabled and accelerated the mass psychosis in this country and the world at large. Psychosis. What is psychosis? It means you have broken from reality. If you've ever done a lot of drugs like mushrooms, or maybe even if you do a shitload of weed, sometimes it can get psychosis. Sometimes it's kind of fun. You're like, whoa, why is there a horse coming out of the wall? You know? Sometimes it's kind of scary. Sometimes you're like, oh shit, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Is this real? Is this fucking real? I don't know. And most people in this world have psychosis. They are not in tune with reality. It's terrible. There's nothing worse than seeing your child go through something you can't fix. I can think of something that's worse. Wearing a mask. Because if these parents wore masks, their kids wouldn't be in this position. So I have identified what is worse than watching your child wither and die. Wearing a mask to protect them is worse. Because if it wasn't worse, you would have done it. And you didn't do it because you're a fucking idiot and you trusted Joe Biden. Joe Biden. You put your faith in Joe Biden. You thought Joe Biden cares about you and your family's health. Joe Biden! The guy who said he would veto Medicare for all if it somehow managed to pass the Senate and the House. He cares about your health and safety. Oh, but we don't have time to look at politics and read up the news. We're parents. We're busy. How about make fucking time? How about learn about the fucking world before bringing new people into it? How about that? How about maybe change your scenarios or the world that you're living in so that you feel safe bringing a new person in? But again, most parents are narcissists. They only want kids to fulfill some cardinal desires that were installed into their brains. They were programmed from a young age. What is your life script? What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? What job do you want to do? Oh, you gotta go to school, then you gotta go to college, then you gotta get a career, then you gotta get married, then you gotta have kids, so on and so forth. And most people have been programmed to do this script without care at all about whether or not their kids are going to be safe and happy in this world that they're being born into. If you're having kids to fulfill some sort of fucked up narcissistic complex of yours, and not because you genuinely want to take care of someone for the rest of your life, not 18 years, but the rest of your life. What if your child gets hit by a car accident at the age of 24? Oh, they're over 18, so you can abandon them? That's what a lot of parents believe. That's what my parents believed. My parents, my mother would beat the shit out of me. But then the moment I turned 18, she's like, well, I didn't kill you, so my job is done. That's how a lot of parents feel. They think they want to raise the kids just to fulfill some narcissistic fantasy so that they can act out the drama of their childhood, but they're playing a different part in the play. They don't actually give a fuck about their kids' health and safety, and this is a good example. If they did, they'd wear a respirator and they wouldn't give their kid COVID 15 fucking times. How the hell are you giving a fucking 6-year-old COVID multiple times? They're not even in the school system yet. Well, by 6 they're in the school system, but if you've had COVID multiple times before entering school, where the fuck are you getting that shit from? Well, maybe it's the doctor's offices too. They're part of the plan as well. Let's keep going. The research also shows long COVID can raise the chances of a child developing type 1 diabetes, and it can even be deadly, leading to multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children. The CDC controlled opposition, describes the symptoms as rare but serious condition associated with COVID-19 in which different body parts become inflamed, including heart, lungs, kidneys, brain, skin, eyes, and gastro... Now, how many times have you heard COVID-19 is a respiratory virus? It's not a respiratory virus. It's an every organ virus. Even the CDC, controlled opposition, mind you, is saying it can fuck up your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, your brain, your skin, your eyes, your gastrointestinal organ. Like, what the fuck? Basically, it can affect everything. The idea that COVID is a respiratory virus is debunked information. Quote, the study is urgently needed because there are so many questions that need to be answered about pediatric long COVID, Gross says. The Goodharts hope more attention is given to studying long COVID so more effective treatments can be found. Again, as a society, let's be honest. As a society, we don't give a fuck about children. We do not give a fuck about children. As a society, as a culture, the same people that go, oh, save the kids, are the most likely to be child abusers, child neglectors, child rapists, pedophiles, are the most likely people to be going out there. Republican politicians love to say, but the children, the children, the children. And yet Republican politicians that say this shit are so often, again, like I said, abusers, neglectors, pedophiles, etc. Is this really live? Yes, it is. I am on Discord. Not sure if I'm on Andrea's. I don't have a Discord anymore. So, I mean, I technically do, but it is worthless to join as there is no chat. So, I keep my Discord server just, in case I want to spy on all the history. In case I want to see what you fuckers were up to for the last couple years of my life that I ignored that shit. I know. I haven't done it yet, but I might. We're going to be talking about AOC and Joe Biden soon here. That's all I got left. So if you're not interested, get the hell out of here. I'm drinking a pear cider at this moment at 11 a.m. That's what I'm choosing to do with my life. So it tastes really good. Shout outs to pear cider. It's extremely good. All right, let's keep going. So I want to play this AOC clip. It's a short one, and then I want to talk about it.
Like, if you're falling out of a coconut tree, God bless you. If you're riding with the president, God bless.
So people are going after AOC because she has endorsed Joe Biden to stay in the race and not drop out. This is a good thing. Now, I know a lot of people, the Twitter super commies, they love to say she's throwing away her base. I think DSA like unendorsed AOC over this or something. I'm telling you, this is a good thing. Bernie Sanders, if Bernie Sanders called on Joe Biden to leave the race, do you know what all the headlines would be? Jealous Bernie Sanders. Upset that he lost the primary, lashing out at Joe Biden. Jealous and petty Bernie Sanders tells Biden to step down. Does Bernie still hold a grudge from the primary? That would be all the headlines. The headlines would not be about Joe Biden's cognitive decay. If AOC went out there and said Joe Biden's got to step down, you know what would happen? The same fucking shit. Oh, AOC is just jealous that her candidate didn't win. Look at the left. They're so jealous and petty. They're trying to take down the president. And so letting the centrists, the moderates, the conservatives in the Democratic Party, like Nancy Pelosi, James Clyburn, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, letting these guys take charge in the Operation Coconut Tree, as I like to call it. That is what I'm officially designating it, Operation Coconut Tree. Letting the centrists take charge allows the media to focus on the problem at hand. If the left went out against Joe Biden, the distractions would be immense. Right now, again, I'm not sitting here to tell you I love AOC to death and she's the best politician in the world. She's done a lot of fucked up shit. Same with Bernie Sanders. They've been disappointing. But this is not a disappointing moment. They know what they're doing. They know that if they go on Team Biden, that it's not going to create a media circus about left versus center. It's not going to create a media circus about jealous, lefty, progressive Dems still mad that they lost the primary. All right, so I'm just throwing that one out there. If you see anyone cringing their fucking brains out about AOC or Bernie. You know, they don't know what politics is. They don't know how politics works. They're just fucking dumb. They're dumb. They're dumb. That's what you have to understand. I know. Right-wingers, they're dumb. Centrists, they're dumb. Leftists are dumb. They're dumb. They're dumber than dog shit. Guess what? You want to know why? Because humans are dumb. People are dumb. Americans are dumb. So is this like the idea that someone can claim to be a super leftist and that somehow makes them intelligent? No. Most of them are fucking dumb. They don't know what this shit is. They don't know what the fuck's going on. I got 2 articles here. One from Axios and one from New York Times. I'm gonna just read each until I get bored and then spring from there. People close to Biden say he appears to accept he may have to leave the race. The Super Friends. Nancy Pelosi. There was a leak that said that Nancy Pelosi, quote, has convinced Joe Biden he will lose. Let's check this out. Several people close to President Biden said on Thursday that they believe he has begun to accept the idea that he may not be able to win in November and may have to drop out of the race, bowing to growing demands of many anxious members of his party. One of the people close to him warned that the president had not yet made up his mind to leave the race after 3 weeks of insisting that almost nothing would drive him out. But another said that reality is setting in. Setting. Both would work, but I think settling is better. And that it would not be a surprise if Mr. Biden made the announcement soon endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris as his replacement. Some people in Mr. Biden's camp have told Democratic allies that the president's resolve to stay in the race has been most shaken by 3 developments. The decision by Representative Nancy Pelosi, the former speaker, to weigh in so strongly. Mama motherfucking bear! Mama motherfucking bear! Can we get a mama bear in chat, please? All of my fellow gamers. She is coming in to save the motherfucking day. It's like when motherfucking Vegeta lands on Namek and fucking saves Krillin and Gohan. Like, you didn't see that fucking shit coming, did ya? Spoiler alert. To weigh in so strongly, new state polls showing that his path to an electoral college victory has grown far more remote, and the boycott of key party donors. The discussions among Mr. Biden's advisors have advanced to the point that they are talking about the best timing and other details for an announcement. If the president decides to give up his bid for a second term, according to one of the people informed about the situation, while some were anticipating an announcement could come as early as the next few days, the timing remained in flux, in part because Mr. Biden is in isolation at his vacation home in Beach, Delaware, after COVID diagnosis. Now I want to look at this Axios article. Behind the curtain, top Dems now believe Biden will exit. And the reason I want to bring this one is because it's got, Axios, I like the way that they format it, but it's got some interesting stuff in here. Several top Democrats privately tell us the rising pressure of party congressional leaders and close friends will persuade President Biden to decide to drop out of the presidential race as soon as this weekend. As soon as this weekend. Now again, is it guaranteed? Nope. But I suggest to you all, let us not be burdened by what has been. Okay? Let's move on in the best case scenario. I don't like Kamala Harris. I think that bitch is gross. But you know what? She is absolutely going to beat Donald Trump. No question about it. The idea that Donald Trump could beat Kamala Harris is a joke. Let's be real. I would be willing to bet my life savings that if Kamala Harris becomes the nominee, that she will beat Donald Trump. I 100% believe that. Now, the polling at this moment shows that Harris is doing better against Trump than Joe Biden. But not that much better. However, if you give Kamala Harris 3 months to campaign, I think she'll win. I just, that's what I think. Do I like this world that we live in? Nope. Do I want to live in the world that I happen to be a part of? Nope. Do I enjoy that Kamala Harris is the last gasp of our chance to avoid Project 2025? No, I do not. However, it is the only chance we have to avoid a second Trump presidency. Why it matters. The 81-year-old president, now self-isolating with COVID, remains publicly dug in. But privately, he's resigned to mounting pressure, bad polls, and untenable scrutiny, making it impossible to continue his campaign, the Democrats tell us. Again, Nancy Pelosi and James Clyburn did a coup in the Democratic primary of 2020, along with Barack Obama Jr. Barack Obama Jr., Nancy Pelosi, and James Clyburn all colluded in the Democratic primary to basically have Bernie Sanders get rocked by Joe Biden, right? Because they were afraid Bernie Sanders would win. They called up everyone, said, drop out and endorse Biden. We cannot have Bernie win. So if you know just how powerful these people are, they were able to get everyone else to drop out of the race. Now, I would also say the only reason you had Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and all these other stupid fuckers, Kamala Harris, in the race to begin with, was to prevent Bernie Sanders from getting screen time. They served their purpose, and they bowed out. It was always a Bernie versus Biden race. That's what it was since 2019 when Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden announced their candidacy. All the other candidates were garbage. All the other candidates were on Team Biden, every single one of them. And they existed only to cut Bernie Sanders' screen time. But Bernie was still going to win. He was going to steamroll. He won the first 3 primaries. Even though they tried the Trump strategy. Remember when Pete Buttigieg pretended to win the Iowa caucus and he came out on election night and said, Iowa, you've shocked the nation? Where do you think Donald Trump got his ideas from? From Pete Buttigieg and the Democratic Party. Right? So even though they tried so hard to rig the first 3 contests, Bernie still steamrolled. So then they knew South Carolina would be the tipping point where they could turn it around. They knew Bernie would lose South Carolina. So what they did is they got everyone else to drop out so that Biden would win South Carolina, and then they used that momentum to steamroll Bernie Sanders. These are the most powerful people in the Democratic Party, and the most powerful people in the Democratic Party are trying to get Joe Biden to fucking resign, or at the very least step down from the ticket. So, I don't know, man. When these guys are your opposition, like, okay, when it's Republicans, right, these guys suck. But when it's Democrats on Democrat violence, intra-party drama, these are the most powerful motherfuckers of all time. Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama Jr., and James Clyburn, these are the most powerful Democrats. When it comes to shitting on other Democrats, when it comes to wielding power and influence within the Democratic circles, these are the most powerful motherfuckers of all time. This shit's like Super Saiyan 4, okay? These guys are going crazy, all right? And they're on team fuck Joe Biden. So, hey, you know, whatever. You can read the rest of that. I don't care. I said everything I wanted to say. So I think Joe Biden is gonzo. I think this is the tipping point. I think it's done. So, that's my theory. Next time I come here, we may have President Kamala Harris. I saw a funny post on twitter.org that said, you know, if you've noticed that Donald Trump has had a lot of 47th president merchandise, and it would be really funny if Joe Biden resigned, which would make Kamala Harris the 47th president. And then if Donald Trump won, he would be the 48th president, which means all his merchandise would immediately become useless. That would be funny to me. And I think Joe Biden should do that just for that humor. And also, let's be honest, if he's not capable of running the campaign, he's not capable of running the country. But, you know, resigning the presidency is a little bit more of an ask than dropping out of the race. So I don't know if he'll resign the presidency. He should. But I do think at this point, I think he'll actually drop out of the race. That's my opinion. I think it's going to happen. When you got Nancy Pelosi against you and you're a Democrat, you're fucked. If you got Nancy Pelosi against you and you're a Republican, you're living life on easy mode. If you got Nancy Pelosi going at you and you got a D next to your name, you are screwed, okay? It is over for your bitch ass. Let's be honest here. And that's my show. Can I get some feedback? Please feed my back. I gotta work on my posture. Oh, yeah. Please feed my back. My back is very hungry. Operation Coconut Tree. I endorse it. Anyway, that's all I got, so I'm going to be leaving imminently here. Pelosi is a super predator of politics. Only against Democrats. Only against Democrats. When it comes to Republicans, she's not very good. That's all I got. I don't have anything else, so. You want to see the dog? Maxie! Let me get this dog in here. Maxie! He's coming. Look at this. Look at this dog. Unfortunately, Max, or rather fortunately, I don't know, depending on your persuasion, I guess. But he's very camera shy. He doesn't even know the camera exists, and yet he always somehow manages to never get perfectly captured. But there he is. That's all I got.
In cities across the nation, we've also seen police officers assaulted with bricks, rocks, bats, Molotov cocktails, frozen bottles of water. Somebody said last night, one of these protesters, I saw it, he said, "It's only water. How can water hurt you?" Yeah, they don't say it's frozen in a bottle the size of a football, and they throw it at the police. It's unbelievable. It's water. And then they have cans of soup, and they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, "No, this is soup for my family." They're so innocent. "This is soup for my family." It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, "No, this is just soup for my family." And then the media says, "This is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people. These are just protesters. Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting?" No. And by the way, the media knows it better than we do. They know what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're doing our country a tremendous disservice, I'll say that. But in cities all across our nation, we've seen our police officers so badly assaulted. Yeah, they don't say it's frozen. It's frozen. It's frozen. The size of a football. It's unbelievable. It's water. 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 It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, "No, this is just soup for my family. This is just soup for my family." Soup for my family. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. Soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.